Good evening, everybody. 75 years after he was killed in action, a war hero will be laid to rest here.
The remains of World War II sailor Thomas Murphy returned to the Cincinnati area today, just months after they were positively identified. Local 12's Larry Davis was on hand for the emotional homecoming. Larry.
Well, Paula, Thomas Murphy's niece thought this day would never come. She was too young to remember her Uncle Tommy. And since he was killed in action, it was too painful for her father to talk about him. She finally learned more about him when they found his Purple Heart and some newspaper clippings. They also learned there was never a funeral. Now there will be, and a family can finally get closure 75 years later.
The Patriot Guard has escorted many heroes home to their final resting place, and today they gathered at the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport to pay tribute to World War II sailor Thomas Murphy.
The fact that this is 75 years in the making, World War II had been forgotten about all this time, and then here we are going to bring him home to the family for closure and burial on the tribute of Memorial Day. It's just a great honor to be here.
Thomas Murphy was a Navy pharmacist mate. He was killed in action during the invasion of Tarawa in 1943. His remains were never found until decades later. 3 years ago, a man building a carport on the island discovered remains. Last October, the remains were positively identified as Murphy's. Today at the airport, family members welcomed him home. Murphy's niece, Chantel Oliver, recalls the day she received the call that her uncle was coming home.
It was like, are these people for real? How do you know they're not fake? How do you know it's really happening? And then when I saw the Navy in my sister's living room, I realized this is really happening.
The Patriot Guard escorted a hearse carrying the remains of Thomas Murphy from the airport to Hamilton, where he will be buried on Memorial Day next to his brother. Many family members thought this day would never come. Today was another step in a long homecoming for a national hero.
We have closure now that we were able to have his remains brought back and laid to rest next to my grandfather. And for that, I'm grateful for everyone that's involved.
And fittingly, Thomas Murphy will be laid to rest on Memorial Day. Graveside services for Thomas Murphy will be held at 11 o'clock on Memorial Day at Greenwood Cemetery in Hamilton. He will be buried with full military honors. Paula, back to you.